Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. Where are we at? Episode 412. It is Thursday. It's a throwback Thursday. I was going to dig out an old Beckett magazine or baseball card magazine, um, but I didn't. It's just going to be a potpourri of topics today. Several things that just kind of on my mind. Just some quick hits because I don't really have um, much depth to them, I guess you could say. And it's also because I woke up and didn't do my homework to prepare a topic to discuss this morning. So that's the main reason. I just didn't have a topic. I think it's part burnout. I think Tuesday really did me in. So I can talk about that. So there's a few things I want to discuss. I'm going to start it on a high note though. Jenny's with us. Good morning to Jenny. Diego, good morning to you. My a friend of mine, one of the reasons I didn't want to switch over to YouTube TV was because it didn't have the Hallmark channel for Christmas movies. You know my love for Hallmark Christmas movies. So I actually just the other night, I was like Googling how can I subscribe on YouTube TV to the Hallmark channel so I can watch my Christmas movies. Good morning, Zach. Um, so so yesterday was Wednesday. Tuesday, friend of mine uh, texted me and he said, check this out. And it was a link. And guess what? YouTube TV added the Hallmark channel like just this week. So yesterday, last evening, I was scrolling through and poof, there it was. Three Hallmark channels and our Christmas movie was on. So it was kind of it was actually a true November day in Wisconsin yesterday and here this morning. So I didn't feel guilty. Earlier in the week it was like 65 degrees on Monday. It was like 55, 60. But Wednesday it was kind of gloomy. It was still fairly. I mean, it was warm for November, but it was gloomy. It was one of those dreary gray days. So I didn't feel bad for watching a Christmas movie because the weather was Christmas season like. So my favorite Hallmark Christmas movie, Switched at Christmas, starring Candace Cameron Bure. She's probably my favorite Hallmark Christmas movie actress, and I think it's because of my love for Full House as a kid. So I'm happy Hallmark Christmas channels are on YouTube TV. Jenny has YouTube TV and Prime. I think that's how it's Hallmark for our house. Yeah, I had to when I looked into it over the weekend. I had to like subscribe to something, but I didn't. I'm glad I didn't because now it's just part of the package. George, what's up? I had no topic either. Talked about getting photo mats. We didn't do our homework. Herman's with us. Good morning, Herman. So yesterday, yeah, it was just kind of one of those days, and I think I mentioned burnout, and I think Tuesday really did me in. I think it was I think Sunday and Tuesday both did me in. So Sunday, typically, I just kind of haphazardly go through my work day. I'll ship some items. I'll just do some random like no organization whatsoever because it's the weekend. It's Sunday. Watching football. Not really paying attention. So I like basically all day Sunday I was shipping because I was out of town at the card show on Saturday. So I lost a lot of my shipping time. So Sunday I was doing a lot of shipping. So Monday night, and I think daylight savings, and I realized, I bet it was daylight savings that like screwed up my sleep clock or whatever that is. So I fell asleep on the couch at like 8 p.m. Monday night, went to bed at like 9, and was wide awake at 4 a.m. So I'm like, well, I'm going to attack the day. And I did. And not only did I attack the day Tuesday, I attacked the night. I worked basically straight through from 4 a.m. to 9 p.m., getting all of the shipping done, listing 300 cards on eBay. So yesterday, I was kind of like, not zombie, but I was just going through the motions. I had a lot more. I had added 300 more cards, so I had more shipping to do. And it was just kind of like, I'm tired. I'm just kind of a zombie. So that's kind of where I was at yesterday. The weather didn't help. It was one of those gray, dreary days, so I think that kind of goes into it as well. So um, while I was productive, I didn't feel productive. You ever have that, like where you get stuff done, but you feel like you didn't do enough just because of your mindset was off. So tonight's going to be a refresh. Going to some friend's house for dinner tonight, so that I think that's what I need, because I've just been kind of like, and I talked about this early on, like when I first made the leap to selling cards full time. Now I don't have a hobby. Like if I want to step away because, I'm doing this all day, and it sounds like, oh, selling cards full time, how much fun would that be? Well, yes, it does defeat the alternative, sitting in an office working, for the man, and just being chained to your desk. Yes, it's better than the alternative, but it's still work. Like, and it's a lot of work. And you're starting a business, and it's stressful also. It's not just therapeutic sorting cards as a side hobby anymore. So there's, some of that going on. So I need to step away for a couple hours, uh, do something, talk to people, get out. So we're having dinner with friends tonight. So I think that will refresh. That will be refreshing. So I'll be even more productive tomorrow than what I have been this week. But this week I need to buckle down. More shipping. Last night I was able to get some sorting done, because I think that's another reason I just felt like I felt all out of it, because I didn't have, like, over the last week or so, I've had exactly what I want to list on eBay, and everything's ready, and I just hit the computer and boom, hammer out everything I'm doing. Now it's like I'm back to the spot where I've got to find cards to list. And I mean, it's not hard to find cards to list, but inside those some cards, I want to be strategic on what I'm listing. I don't want to just have, you know how many ever cards, because I'm trying to focus on football, basketball right now since it's in season. But there's also some, like, players that I'm just kind of like, I don't want to sell for $2 today, because it may be a $10 card, if they have a 40-point game. Which, by the way, Anthony Edwards last night, I'm sure his cards have spiked a little bit today. He scored 48 points for the Timberwolves. So I will be looking for some Anthony Edwards just to throw on. I think I have some, like, low end stuff of his. So anyway, that's where my mindset is. So just trying to get the mind right. And I did pull maybe 100 cards. So I'm not going to be as full bore on the listing today. I want to really focus on shipping here in the morning hours, and then I'll tackle some listings later on. And I really need to get some content. Brent is working on my website, so I'm going through a website redesign. So I'm not sure when that will be done. Probably by the end of the month, hopefully. So once I get it, that's why I really don't put a lot of content on my website, because I don't like my website, and that's a terrible thing to think. And I need to change that. I need to get back into a routine of getting some content loaded on the website, but it just doesn't flow with content. So once I get the redesign and more to my liking, then I'll be adding more content to the website. Zach says Bulls won again. Yeah, I need to watch. I need to make a point of watching, because then I see some, I watched the Knicks, the end of the Knicks game last week, and that was a game they lost, but it was a really fun game, especially at the end. So I need to make a point of watching the Bulls. Daylight savings messed up my rods and cones. Just getting back to normal today, getting old. And Candace Cameron was your first crush. Mine was probably, let's see, Tiffany Amber Thiessen was probably my first crush. Yeah, Saved by the Bell, definitely Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Going back further, I mean, in the 80s, I was too young to have a crush. Girls still had cooties in the 80s for me. So Tiffany Amber Thiessen was mine. Jenny's going to be working on cards today. Rain here, getting to the 30s. Same, yeah. It's a cold November rain, but in Madison today. Then snow to follow tomorrow. I always look forward to the first snow. This point in time on the calendar, I'm okay with a first snowfall. Now, about 2 or 3 years ago, we had 7 inches on Halloween. October, 7 inches of snow is way too early for me. But November, like 2 weeks, give it 2 more weeks. Get close to Thanksgiving. We're in the festive holiday spirit. I'm ready for some snow. Nothing to do outside. Bulls are looking promising with DeRozan. Yeah, they are. And I really liked what they did with their roster in the offseason. It's very un-Bulls like because we don't have Garpax anymore. Thank the Lord. And hopefully next year we can be saying that about the Bears. And thank God we don't have Nagy and Pace anymore. So they put together like a great roster, bringing in Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, to around Zach LaVine. Ayo's been playing well, off the bench. It's just been, I was looking forward to the Bulls season. And I've never been a big Bulls fan. I'm Chicago all the way. But growing up, I liked the Bulls in the first trifecta in the Jordan era. I was a Bulls fan. Then when Jordan retired, towards the end, like in '92, that's when Shaq came on, and I was a Shaq fan. I wasn't really an Orlando Magic fan, but I was a Shaq fan. And then the next year, Penny came in, and then I became a Magic fan. I had the starter jacket, so I was legit. If you had the starter jacket, you were a card-carrying fan of that franchise. So I was an Orlando Magic fan because I had the starter jacket. And then the second run of the Bulls, I just wasn't. Then it was kind of like it was too cool. Like everybody liked the Bulls. I wanted to be different. So I didn't jump back on the bandwagon because I was already a Magic fan, even though I was kind of I wasn't really paying attention during that second run as much as I was during the first run. And then I just stopped following by the late 90s, especially late 90s, early 2000s. I was just not even interested in the NBA. I did watch the Ben Gordon team that made a run in the playoffs in, what was that, 2008? I followed that team, and I was rooting for them, and I root for them. But then the Garpax era, man, it was just like, what in the hell are you doing? But when I moved to Wisconsin, I wanted to become a Milwaukee Bucks fan, but it just didn't. I could never get into the NBA, and even last year, I couldn't get in. I couldn't watch it. I have a Bucks hoodie. I need to buy a Bulls hoodie because now I'm a Bulls. I'm a fair weather fan. Now the Bulls are good. I'm rooting for the Bulls. I didn't care about them the last decade. So yeah, I'm a fair weather fan, but I'm a fair weather fan for all of the NBA. So that's my talk about that. Let's see. David's with us. Good morning, David. Let's see. November 11th, 2014, my house had 16 inches fall in 8 hours. Yuck. That's a little too much for me. 7 inches, okay. 16, not okay. Crazy, but I've been tuning in more to hockey, still watching the Sixers, but have been watching the Flyers a bit more. That is something that I just don't see myself ever watching is hockey. Hockey and soccer. I have no interest in hockey and soccer. So that's some random stuff I had. eBay was down last night. I was listing some. So at like 4:00, I just wanted to hit the couch. I had been shipping like basically all day. I did some shipping. Oh, that's one more thing that I want to talk about because I did make a Target run. So at 4:00, I'm like, turn the fireplace on. Oh, switched it. Christmas is on the Hallmark channel. I'm going to list some cards on my phone and just kind of take it easy. Like I'm still working, but it's just kind of more comfortable. So I was listing some cards. I was having some, eBay was really clunky, and this was 4 or 5 o'clock last night, Central Time. eBay was pretty clunky. And I was like, what's going on? And then my wife came home doing some other things. We ordered dinner, carry out ancho and agave, a Mexican place here. It's amazing. I had a carnitas burrito. It had has fried plantains in it. It's like my go-to. Whenever I go to restaurants, I like order something different every time. That's just the way I like. But from ancho and agave, I order this burrito like every time. It's so good. And I don't know if it was I had Pepsi. Usually I don't drink Pepsi at night, but I had a Pepsi with my Mexican, and for some reason, all of the flavors just delicious. Carnitas burrito and their homemade chips and salsa, amazing. It was great. I think that's what I needed. I think I've been eating too many Hot Pockets and ham sandwiches. I think that's the problem. Too many Hot Pockets and ham sandwiches. It was nice to have a good carryout meal. Anyway, so eBay was clunky. I saw some tweets. People were having issues with eBay. I went to it. Yep, it was down. It was down for a couple hours, I think. It kind of was working intermittently by 8 o'clock. So I looked and I'm like, man, what's this going to do to the eBay traffic? I was pleasantly surprised. And let me make sure I have the right dates. Yeah, I have the right dates. I actually had more impressions yesterday than I did the day before. Now, a lot of that. Now, my views weren't down, and I'm looking at organic impressions, which is basically it doesn't mean people click on your listings, but they see it. And so my promoted impressions went from on Tuesday 189,000 to 188,000. So it only dropped actually 700 impressions from Tuesday to Wednesday, despite a couple hours of some eBay clunkiness. My organic impressions, though, overall impressions were up about 15,000 because my organic impressions had been averaging 50 to 55,000, and they went up to 70,000 yesterday. But I think a big key to the organic impressions was that I tweeted my eBay link, and quite a few people, thank you very much, retweeted and made some comments on it. So let's go back to where did I tweet that out? So yesterday I tweeted out that I added 300 basketball cards to my eBay store. I got 6 retweets, and I think Jeremy quote tweeted. So I think that really helped the organic impressions. I was pleasantly surprised that the issues eBay was having last night did not affect any traffic, at least on my end. And you can check if you go into the sellers hub, if you're wondering about, impressions and all the clicks and your sold numbers, just go to the selling dashboard and then scroll down to promoted listings. And it should work even if you don't promote your listings, although now I think everything's promoted. I'm not sure about that. Maybe you have to click. I'm sure you have to click into it, though. But it's there. If you do have any questions, hit me up and let me know. I can guide you. Herman's a Flyers fan. David's a Penguins fan. Jenny says I'll always take the 16 inches over 8 of snow. School closed. Being Puerto Rican, rice and beans, other Spanish always goes great with a fruity pop, like orange pop is my favorite. Interesting. I'll have to give that a whirl sometime. Usually I only have Pepsi. That's my pop of choice. My wife is a Diet Coke addict. So I can actually lead in because that's why I went to Target yesterday. But I'll have to try the orange pop. So my wife, instead of just saying, "Hey, can you run to the store?" She goes, "Are you going to Target today?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't have plans on it. Why? Do you need something?" We're almost out of Diet Coke. So I know what that means. So I make sure she has Diet Coke for both of our sanities. So I ran to Target, the one just down the street. And of course, I want to check out the card section, just see what they have. and an employee, a Target employee, was stocking the shelf. I'd actually seen this during the height of the retail boom last summer, last fall. I'd actually seen this particular store, like on a Saturday afternoon, we're putting out boxes. And I don't know if they were returns, because at the time, I don't think they do returns anymore on cards. But at the time, I think they did. They could have been returns, or they could have been, because I know that this was when some of the store managers were like trying to find ways to like combat the retail bums that are staking out the stores. So Target employee was stocking the shelf. I meandered over, and it was just a whole bunch of Topps Fire, which I didn't open this year, but I really don't have any interest. And I think now selling cards full time, not only did the pullback of putting retail on shelves like disinterest me in going out and looking, but now that I'm selling cards full time, it's like throwing your money away. Now the only time I will buy retail is if it's like Bowman, because more times than not, it's going to increase in price sealed in the next year or two. So it's kind of a long-term hold. So I have a bunch of Bowman mega boxes that I'm just sitting on until next baseball season, or maybe in 2 years, we'll see where the prices trend. But generally speaking, it's just kind of a losing, buying retail is just kind of a losing task, outside of like the 9 months we had where it was, you could make a quick flip on it, and everything back in March when everything was selling. So I didn't buy any Topps Fire. They had some, what else? There was one other big, like Donruss Optic. There was some hockey. I think that was about it. They didn't have any penny sleeves. There's been a lot of like binder pages. They do have those like portfolios, which I've been interested in picking those up, because I've seen, I think George and Ken are both big on those. So I've been thinking about picking one of those up just to test them out, but I haven't pulled the trigger. So I messaged my buddy Ryan, like, hey, there's an employee stocking Target. I didn't even ask him what else he had or anything. I'm just not interested. Right now, there's only like crappy retail on the shelf. So he made a run. And then when I got home, I'm like, oh, Topps Archives is out now. That is something I would buy because I enjoy it. So I forgot that Archives should be popping up. So I message him back. I'm like, hey, let me know if I forgot that that's being released. I didn't even talk to the guy that was stocking the shelf. So he said, nope, it was all the crap that I saw. So I didn't feel bad that I didn't ask. Let's see. Meanwhile, in southern New Jersey, bare shelves still exist. Wow. So all of our stores are like stocked like crazy with all, I mean, it's even Bowman Chrome mega boxes I've been able to find on a couple trips. Bowman Platinum is plentiful. The Chronicles basketball is everywhere. Hockey, mostly baseball, but some football, and then the Chronicles basketball. I'll have to. Today's Thursday, so I think one of the stores stocks on Thursday. I think one of our Walmart stocks. So I may have to go. Ryan brings up a good point. What's up? Good morning to Ryan. He said Walmart's up here in Canada, full shelves at double the price from before, and we're seeing the same thing here, where a lot of the products, specifically Panini, is almost double or double the previous price. But I don't have too much of a problem with that, because Panini did announce like earlier this year they would be raising their retail prices, which I think at the time was a good move. Is it a good blanket move? I don't think so, because there's some products that, like Donruss Optic Baseball, should be at most $25, $30 blaster box, not 35, 40, wherever it's priced at. Because I think Prism baseball was 35 or 40. Were we due for an increase? Yes, absolutely. $25, $30 blasters. But the value is really not there for some of the baseball Panini products. But then you have Panini Prism football and basketball, where it should be like $60 for a blaster box. So it'll be interesting what happens when Fanatics takes over. I know there's been some rumblings in the news about Fanatics. I'm just kind of Fanatics out. So that's why I don't really touch on it here. My mindset regarding Fanatics and what's going to happen is I can't change it. None of us can change it. So it's going to happen. So for me to waste my time and energy discussing potentials, I'm not interested. I do find it interesting when others talk about it and bring up their various opinions and points to make you think. But all in all, I don't talk about it because I'm still going to, when Fanatics takes over, no matter what happens, I'm still going to collect. I'm still going to buy, sell, trade. I'm still going to love cards. It has no bearing whether it's Topps, Fanatics, Panini, Leaf, Upper Deck. I'm going to collect. So that's my thoughts on that. Jenny says, does full shelves mean people stopped stockpiling, or does it mean production went drastically up? I think it means... I don't know about production numbers going up, but I definitely think it means people stopped buying it because stores are still getting a lot of the same. Like the shelf space is still the same. So the shelf space is still the same. There's still the third-party vendors, Excel and MJ. They're still only working with the allotted shelf space, and they're still only making one, maybe two trips to each store. So they can only get so much product on the shelf. So it's mostly, and if it sits, because remember last year, I mean, it was gone. Most of the product was gone, like by the time the vendor left the store. Like if you weren't at a store when the vendor was, and even if you were, I mean, Target had waiting lists, like you had to sign up and get in line. And so if you got there when the vendor was there, you're already going to be like 25th in line, at least here where I am in our stores. So I definitely think it's just people don't want it. Look at the Chronicles Chronicles basketball blasters. I think it's a combination of, people. Not only do people not want it, but they made a ton. I mean, all of the Walmart stores here have like 50 blaster boxes of Chronicles, where it's like it takes up 75% of the shelf space. So I think production has gone up. I don't think it's gone up drastically, but I think there's been an uptick in production. Pricing also has some to do with it, where, WNBA Prism blasters at $20, I think you wouldn't see them as plentiful on shelves as you do now that they're priced at $35 per blaster box. So I think there's all three of those are going into account, where production is up, but it's probably not up that much. Pricing is up. We know that. And we also know that there's a dip. People aren't, gobbling up. You can just look at the retail or the secondary prices on stuff, where things, a year ago, I think, those Panini Chronicles blasters a year ago, people would have been cleaning off the shelves and flipping them for, but now it's like nobody wants them at retail price. Stockpiling went down. Yeah, big time. Ryan says, look at how many insert cards one got 10 years ago to now. There are way more inserts. Yeah. 10 years ago is a completely different ball game. But I think just year over year, and you're always going to have like production increases year over year. Just look at the odds on boxes, like the mega boxes. I mean, the production definitely went up on the Bowman mega boxes. You can just see it. They added a colored insert, which when they add inserts, just like Ryan mentioned, when they add inserts in other color parallels, that just means they can print them to the moon. Big Shep made a great point probably a year ago with, look at how many different parallels there are on Prism. And that just means they can just print base to the moon, and who knows how many there could be warehouses full of Prism that never reached the street because of all they made. Who knows? Diego says, good thing for my son, we have been finding some Pokemon. Yeah, there's Pokemon for some reason, and I don't know the Pokemon game. I know nothing about Pokemon. But there's always Pokemon on our shelves. Now, is it, and I think probably in the Pokemon world, it's similar to baseball baseball, basketball, where there's probably some Pokemon products that are looked at like sports card collectors look at Chronicles basketball. But we've always had Pokemon, even during like the height of the retail craze. We had Pokemon on the shelves. I think the people that bought to rip are done trying to look, and that's why it sits. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's I grew tired of, like, it's like, well, if I'm not putting myself on a waiting list, and when after a few trips to the store, there's no retail on the shelf, I'm not interested. There are some products where I was interested. Now that it's died down, this is kind of where I like it to be. As a seller, I loved the craze because anything and everything sold. But it was also harder to access. But right now, people are still into the hobby, but they've kind of moved on to different things. Some of the retail is accessible still. You're not going to find Prism football or basketball unless you get there early. It's just going to be difficult to find stuff like that. It's going to be limited most likely. But I kind of like where we're at now, where yes, there's product on the shelf. It might not be what you want, but at least it's there. And I think that's one thing that, people kind of like. The shelf could be full of cards, and people are like, oh, it's all garbage, it's all crap. It's like, well, a year ago it was an empty shelf and you complained because there was no product on the shelf, and people complained, well, there's nothing on my shelf. Now there's a full shelf, and it's not what I want. So I guess that's just human nature. Bob, what's up? Good morning to you. Ryan, also depends on the rookie class for each year. Soft year of rookies no one wants. That's where we're at in baseball. Look at update. And I want to talk, for having no topics to talk about, I'm like, I haven't even hit on half of what I wanted to discuss this morning. But I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to hit everything, and if people don't like a longer show, then they can just hit pause and watch it later, I guess. So the rookie class is a great point, Ryan. We've seen soft rookie classes in every sport now, because look at baseball. We had COVID, which really affected baseball and baseball rookies in products, because there were like no top rookies in 2020 update last year. So baseball's taken a hit. The rookie class this year going into 2021, that Series 1 rookie checklist was like fire. Like, man, there's some awesome rookies. Now remember though, Series 1 is printed to the moon because it's in the sets. It's, they make, I'm pretty sure they produce more Series 1 than Series 2, and definitely update. So there's more Series 1 just because they print it crazily. And where am I going with this? Those guys didn't perform well. Nobody from that Series 1 rookie class, nobody really from the entire rookie class of 2021 was to the caliber of what we've seen the past few years with that hype of a Luis Robert. And then going back to 18, the 18 class was crazy good. And then you had 19 with Vlad, Alonso, and Tatis. So we were really spoiled in 2018, 2019. And then 2020, COVID messed things up both with the season and baseball card production. And then 2021, the rookie class was soft. Football, we had what we thought was going to be an amazing rookie football class with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Trevor Lawrence hasn't done much. Justin Fields is in the last 2 weeks is showing that he could be really the breakout star of this draft class. It's unfortunate he's surrounded by what he's surrounded with. Zach Wilson struggled. So football's been soft. Basketball's been soft the past since the Zion Ja rookie class of what was that, 2019? So it's been soft. This year's class, still a lot to be determined since we're only, 2 weeks into the season, but last year's class was down. So Ryan's exactly right. The rookie classes in all the sports have been pretty soft. What sucks is when I see a card he has that sells for $25 and it's been out of the package for my son for Pokemon. Yeah. Ryan's kids love Pokemon. And yes, seeing a card where something kids have destroyed, it drives me crazy. Let's see. I wonder if the vintage mentality is coming in for some collectors since the Fanatics issue. That's a great point. And it was discussed. I think it was discussed on Hobby Hotline Tuesday night about, could there be an increased demand for vintage, just because some, Topps loyalists will jump ship and just kind of focus on Topps cards. And I think definitely that will be the case in some instances. So I think there could be a, kind of an increased demand for vintage. I don't think it's going to be a big. Most people are still going to collect the new because it's new and shiny. New and shiny always wins. New and shiny is just what most people are attracted to. So I think a lot of, we're still a couple of years out of this, Fanatics taking over. So I think by the time it happens, people will have their thoughts on the issue, kind of like, I'm just going to accept it for what it is, and I'm still going to collect my favorite teams set from Fanatics this year. So, but could it increase some vintage? I think so. But I think it's going to be a small bump. Fall Creek Collectibles, good morning to you. I bought 30 mega boxes of 1819 Prism basketball for $15 each from a guy that buys those huge Walmart boxes. I sold them all between 30 and 50. Ooh, yeah. Hey, you doubled your money, but what could you have made? Ouch. My buddy owns a store that does Pokemon. Their big thing is Magic, but they do Pokemon. They got tons of commons and books if anyone's ever looking for singles. David says, oh, I missed. Sometimes I scroll and it scrolls too far. I've not seen update at retail yet. Got a hobby box from David Adams. It's just sitting on my wax pile. No desire to open. David, and I think I talked about this last week. Friday, I went jumping around from store to store, and Topps update was at the Target, the same Target store that I went to yesterday. It's just a mile down the road. They had about 10 hanger boxes of Topps update. And I passed on it. Like, I just wasn't interested. I wouldn't say I wasn't interested because I was, but I thought I still had to get lunch, run to the post office, and then I was going to multiple other stores. So I'm like, I'll find it. If it's here, it's going to be everywhere else. And it wasn't. That was where it was at. I even drove by that Target on my way back home and didn't stop because it's just kind of a ho-hum product. I'm just not interested. By the way, Blowout has hobby boxes for $80. I'm not sure if that's a deal, but they are on the Blowout Black November sales for $80. No desire to open those. Jenny says, but rookie class can't really be true for current year. No one bought Trout. They bought Harper. Trout rookies picked up all day. But there's always hype. There's always hype on new rookies. There's always going to be that guy. Baseball's a little different where a lot of players peak later, but you're always going to have that fresh out of the gate. 2017 was Aaron Judge. In Trevor, 2016 was Trevor Story, or was Trevor Story 16 or 17. But Trevor Story, hot out of the gate. Aaron Judge, 17. Ohtani, 2018, hadn't played a game, but he was the most sought after rookie in 2018. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Fernando Tatis, 2019. Before they had a card, they were the most sought after baseball rookies. So there's always that fresh. And then you look at Bowman, there's always fresh out of the gate Bowman, Blaze Jordan and Austin Martin. By next year, we're going to say who? because there's going to be somebody else out of that first Bowman class, because I don't think Austin Martin or Blaze Jordan are strong baseball prospects. But there wasn't any hype behind other guys, so those were the hype guys. But we will see develop over time other rookies and other first Bowmans that will increase. Harper 2012's tops. Everyone was chasing his prospect card 2011. I was kind of out of the game in 2011 and 2012. I had 1 foot in the door. So I remember Strasburg was huge in like 2010. But yeah, I don't remember back then. David says, for new basketball class, there's just that Chronicles draft picks out so far. Still a half dozen or more LaMelo rookie class releases to come from Panini. Yeah, I still don't understand the basketball releases. Jenny says, people would bring in stacks of 2011 Trout to trade at the LCS to get Harper Bowman. My LCS had half a 5-row box of Trout rookies that he bought off people for 50 cents in 2011. 2021 rookie class will end up like 2011 one sleeper in the bunch. I think you're going to have that in every rookie class. You're going to have, and it's going to come at different times. There's always going to be somebody that creeps up, a few years down the road, whether it be just because they excel, or because they have like a playoff run. So I think you're always going to see some delayed rookies. But the hype driving a product is those fresh out of the gate rookies that they've been following them. They've been top prospects for 2-3 years, and now they're finally getting a rookie card, and I want it. Wander Franco, another perfect example, although he did play this year. Wander Franco is going to be the guy. He's going to be the rookie to chase in 2022. His rookie card will be in Series 1. I was meaning because people said there's no rookie class to chase right now. I was saying it might not be now, but could change in years to come. Yeah, I agree with that. Strasburg and Hayward were the big 2010 rookies. Remember when Jeffries was huge? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, as I was sorting last night, I had like 5 or 6 89 Upper Deck Jeffries that I'll put them on eBay and they will sell. 89 Upper Deck Greg Jeffries. I've sold 89 Topps Greg Jeffries for $1. They do sell. So I hit on eBay down. I'm going long today. Blowout sales. So I mentioned Topps Update. 2021 Topps Update is on blowout for $80 for a hobby box. I don't know what the pre-sale prices were, if that's a good deal or not. Speaking of Update, 2020 Topps Chrome Update mega boxes are $40. These are blowout Black November sales. That's a deal that it's like, it might be worth it. I don't know. It at least intrigues me somewhat. They've got those baseball tins for $18. What else do we have here? There was one other product that I was going to highlight. These are the most recent. I guess that was all. So yeah, so those are blowoutcards.com. Sometimes they have some great deals. I haven't seen any that really stuck out to me. There's been some that it's like, I think they had those. Oh, they had some boxes that I bought last year, but they're raising the price. But if you look at sold comps recently, another reason I like these blowout sales is because this is like the worst time for baseball sales. So you can buy. People aren't really looking for sealed boxes of whatever product it could be. 2020 update or 2019 Heritage high number mega boxes. But all of a sudden, baseball's back March, April, May. Maybe one of those rookies that pops up later. Hey, he's in that product. Let's chase it. Or Tatis or Vlad Jr. has a huge start to the season. Boom, those boxes raise in price. Those boxes were selling, and I'm talking about Heritage high number mega boxes. I think they're sold out, but they were listed for $100. They were selling for $150 to $160 just a couple months ago. So that tells me that's the floor. And you sit on them for a few months, they may sell for that. You're still after fees. It's maybe break even, maybe make a few bucks. But they could go up to $200 and you have a nice little return. Remember when Kirk Cousins was worth $84 million? Project 70. Project 70 is who knows what's going on there. It's not done. If it was done, we would seen an announcement of some sort. It's still on the Topps website. You just can't buy anything. They haven't released any new products, but it's still a banner on the website. Topps had tweeted earlier this week about not having any Project 70 cards, but it's coming back soon. So I would expect that maybe they're taking the week off and readdressing. They did have some issues, I think some copyright issues with an Otani card and with one other card. So I think there were some issues. David said Topps tweeted yesterday that Project 70 was resuming today. Oh, perfect. So yeah, so Project 70 resuming today. Thank you, David. I did not see that tweet. So yeah, it's interesting what's going on there. I better get my Blake Jameson gold card if they cancel it. So I'm still buying the Cubs. I think I mentioned the other day I am missing two that I'll probably have to pick up off eBay. One of them I just was lazy and didn't buy it in the window. The other I just was Dizzy Dean, which I didn't realize he was a Cub in that particular card. So I'm just missing those two. I kind of like that the Cubs have a fairly low amount. I don't even know how many I've bought, maybe a dozen. So at least I'm not a Yankees fan where there's been like 100. If it came to that, I just would only pick and choose. I wouldn't go for the whole team set. So I'm still buying. I'm a big fan of Project 70. I think it's cool. I think that Topps just unfortunately ran into some issues with those copyright. Now it's like we've got to buckle down. George mentioned in his video the other day about, potential lockout, and that's going to be interesting. Like I don't think any of us can even really, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but with the contracts, who knows what's in those contracts? Like, what if there is a lockout? Like, can the official licensee of baseball cards for MLB, can they still make cards during a lockout? I don't know. And then I thought, well, let's go back and look at 1994 during the strike. But that was almost 30 years ago. Contracts changed, so we can't use that as a reference. I guess we could use that as a guide, but when it comes down to the contract situations, a lot changes when it comes down to contracts, especially in a 25 to 30 year window. Herman says, glad I didn't go all in on the Braves. They would have broke the bank the last few weeks. Yeah, just think Yankees, Dodgers. Now with the Braves winning the World Series, I'm sure that a lot of those cards were just kind of on the fly with the World Series win. So I had one other topic that I was going to touch on, but I'm already almost 50 minutes in, so I'm going to just cut it here. May talk about that tomorrow morning. So have a great Thursday. Thanks for the chat. Awesome chat. Whenever I don't have a topic, when I don't come prepared, when I don't do my homework, you guys nail it, hit it out of the park. Awesome discussion. So thank you for that. Hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already. Appreciate it. Back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. Check out the eBay store, 99centcards.com. 1millioncubs.com will also get you there. Just click on the eBay store link. So have a great Thursday. Talk tomorrow.